Every time there's another news story about the obesity epidemic, TV and film crews run out and shoot footage like this, in case you don't know what fat people look like. Frankly, this annoys me. How would you like to sit down to watch the evening news and find out some camera crew picked you to represent fat people everywhere? But there's an even bigger reason it annoys me. When they show footage like this and then tell you that 1/4 of American adults are obese, you probably think 1/4 of us look like this. And that's baloney, because I shot this footage in 3 different locations and it took me hours to get it. If there's such an epidemic out there, it should have taken me 10 minutes. The next time you hear that 1/4 of American adults are obese, here's something to keep in mind. See that guy right there? According to the government, he's obese. I know because that guy is me. When I started looking into the so-called obesity epidemic, along with what supposedly constitutes a good or a bad diet, it didn't take long to figure out we've been fed a load of baloney. Government agencies have been feeding us baloney. Researchers and scientists have been feeding us baloney. Even a muckraking documentary filmmaker fed us a load of baloney. In fact, let's start with him. A few years ago, filmmaker Morgan Spurlock called upon his several days of experience as a nutrition expert to identify the evil culprit who's making people fat: fast food. And to prove his point, he ate nothing but McDonald's for a month and showed us how his once beautiful body deteriorated as he gained 25 pounds. We also heard an interesting theory about saturated fat and sexual performance that we'll just file under the category of too much information. Of course, a movie about a guy who goes to Mickey D's and gains 4 or 5 pounds probably wouldn't make a big splash on the film festival circuit. So Spurlock didn't just eat at McDonald's. He McStuffed himself on purpose for a solid month, consuming more than 5,000 calories per day, including nearly a gallon of soda. That's one way to get a big fat box office. Super Size Me was an amusing documentary, but it was full of baloney. I mean, come on, 5,000 calories per day of pretty much anything is going to make you fat and screw up your health. Isn't it also possible to live on fast food and actually lose weight? Or would all that fatty food make losing weight impossible? I decided to find out.
Say I'm playing games, but I say I'm a fathead. Fathead, yeah. I'm gonna start thinking smarter. Fathead, yeah. I'm gonna start thinking smarter. Fathead, yeah.
Since so many people want to blame fast food restaurants for making people fat, I thought I should hang around McDonald's and see if anyone would drag me inside and make me eat their food. It didn't happen. I was also ignored by the staff at Taco Bell, Carl's Jr., and Popeye's Chicken. Back at McDonald's, I started to feel hungry and slightly rejected and went inside for a double cheeseburger. Afterwards, I wrote down my first no baloney conclusion. Nobody forces anyone to eat fast food. Next, I visited a half-dozen different McDonald's to see if anyone would force me to consume a big sugary soda or a large order of fries.
Total 410 of course, one down.
Okay. Hey, if I don't order fries, you don't try to make me eat them, do you?
I'm sorry?
If I don't order fries, you don't try to make me eat them, do you?
No.
Okay, just confirming that. Thank you. That didn't happen either. So I wrote down my next no baloney conclusion. Fast food restaurants don't force anybody to overeat. But just to be sure, I practiced stealing my resolve.
Would you like a hot apple pie?
No,
Would you like a hot fudge sundae?
no,
Would you like a large order of fries?
those smell pretty good.
Would you like a large order of fries?
No.
I now felt safe to begin my own fast food diet. Okay, here are my rules. For the next 30 days, I'm going to live on a fast food diet, mostly McDonald's. But instead of eating everything on the menu or anything some counter clerk suggests, I'm going to operate under a slightly different premise.
You want to hear something pretty compelling?
That'll make you tell your secrets.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I'm looking at your brain
And it's
when I
there.
do that. Yeah, it's there. A couple of rocks. Have you ever been told you had a murmur?
Mm-mm.
It's because you don't have one.
Scared the hell out of me.
Now on camera, tell me how good that was.
I didn't feel a thing.
There you go.
A junkie couldn't have done that any better.
That's not the analogy I was hoping for.
Oh, okay.
And what do you do for physical activity, Tom?
Walk.
Daily?
Usually 2-3 times a week.
Briskly?
Yeah, for about 5 miles.
Good, good, good. And I'm glad that you don't run because I'm not a big fan of that. And out. Okay, you didn't tell me that you work out, but I'm feeling lots of muscle here. Are you just blessed with this? Seriously.
That's the good news. Now for the bad news.
Are we done?
Yeah, we're done. We're
I'm
done.
afraid to look.
It's hard. It's high.
31.
0.2.
0.2.
Yeah. So that is high.
I knew going in I was overweight, but according to the current medical definition, I'm obese. Obese? You mean at 5'11", 206 pounds, I'm part of the obesity epidemic? Well, apparently so, but we'll come back to that.
Your diet should be one that you can live on and live with forever.
Okay.
It shouldn't be something that's so drastic that you can't possibly live with, because as soon as you're off of it, you will, and studies show this over and over again, you will just revert to your old ways and the weight will come back, if not more.
Okay.
Your blood tests look good?
Okay. Can you give me numbers, please?
Yes. Your cholesterol was a little bit high, but not bad. It was 231. A bit.
What was the HDL and LDL?
The HDL is incredible. It's 61.
Now, is that good or bad?
That's very good.
It's good.
Yes, excellent. Incredibly so.
What's considered the good
39.
over 39?
Their triglycerides were great. They were 70.
That's all right. What's considered good for triglycerides?
Under 150.
Under 150. So basically, HDL and triglycerides are good. The LDL is a little higher than we'd like to see it.
Yes.
And
Hey, your PSA, everything is fine.
so what are we having?
We're having quinoa with pineapple teriyaki tofu and chicken-flavored soy drumlets with sweet and sour sauce.
This?
Carrot juice.
Huh. Yeah, pepperoni, mushroom, onion, and green pepper. Cash. And how long? How long if I come pick it up? So it's day one. It's about 8:45. My daughter is in bed. I'm heading out for dinner. I've had a little fewer than 1,200 calories. Okay, there it is. The most hated symbol in the entire industry by the fast food haters. Finally found a place where there's a little bit of light because I don't have a lot of night shooting equipment. And I know by now you were probably thinking, okay, he's going to lose weight eating fast food. He's going to go get all those grilled chicken salads, and that's how he's going to do it. Well, this is a double quarter pounder with cheese. And I'm still going to be under 2,000 calories for the day.
Growing up in Iowa, I was an active kid and skinny as a rail. But when my family moved to Illinois, it took me a long time to make new friends, so I sat around and got fat. And I've been fighting that fat my whole life. In my 20s, I had some vegetarian friends who told me if I gave up meat, I'd lose weight. And I did. But it was all in my muscles. My belly actually got bigger. And after a couple of years, I felt weak and tired all the time.
I was a vegetarian for about 9 years, with about 3 years of being very strict vegetarian where I consumed no animal products. And I was also a strength coach at the time, and that was a bad combination because I lost my strength.
Next, I tried the Pritikin diet, where you limit your fat to no more than 10% of your total calories. In fact, I tried it twice, and both times I got depressed. That's not a natural condition for me.
It's funny you should say you got depressed on the Pritikin diet, because I also tried a diet similar to that, and it was the only time I've ever been depressed in my life.
Pritikin, by the way, came down with leukemia and committed suicide. Next, I tried the Fit for Life diet, which is all about food combining. You eat proteins and carbohydrates at separate meals, and in the morning you consume nothing but juice and fruit until noon. I started using a juicer and I felt great for about 2 hours. When the sugar buzz from the juice wore off, I could barely stand up. So how can people lose weight? The story we've all heard about weight control goes like this. If you eat more calories than you burn, the extra calories turn to fat. But if you just consume fewer calories or burn more calories by exercising, you create a calorie deficit and you automatically lose weight. It's a nice, simple story. And it's a load of baloney.
But it's more complicated than that, because it's also important what your body decides to do with the calories that you eat.
In his groundbreaking book, Good Calories, Bad Calories, science writer Gary Taubes explains that people who try to starve themselves thin almost never lose as much weight as this equation says they should. And in studies where naturally thin people ate an extra 1,000 calories per day for several months, they barely gained any weight at all. After examining decades of research that obesity experts seem to have completely ignored, Taubes concluded that your body's tendency to store fat is determined by hormones. Most importantly, insulin.
All other things being equal, if you consume the same number of calories, the higher your insulin is, the larger proportion of those calories you will divert towards stored body fat.
If insulin is up and you're not eating very much, or you're eating even the wrong kinds of foods, the kind of foods that keep insulin up, insulin holds the fat in the fat cell and doesn't let it out.
What raises insulin, independent of any other metabolic hormones, what raises insulin is carbohydrate, starch and sugar, pure and simple.
So here's my plan. Using my functioning brain, I did a few minutes of research and found that a man of my size and activity level burns about 2,500 calories per day. To create a calorie deficit, I'm setting a target of 2,000 calories per day. I'll also burn a few extra calories by walking 6 nights per week instead of my usual 3. But here's the really important part. To make sure my body